The Faces Podcast, brought to you by Telehelping.
Tell us, like, who is Cole? Who are we chatting with here today?
Yeah, thanks so much. So I moved in literally 2 weeks ago, just north of Denver, a little small town called Berthoud. But the journey is way more intensive than that. I grew up on the East Coast, lived in Virginia for the first, call it 26, 27 years of my life. Went to UVA, studied finance there, got out, worked on Wall Street for a couple years, and then transitioned to like a large real estate investment trust where I did like strategy, business development type stuff. And now I work in agriculture, which is like kind of a crazy transition. And the story behind that is when I was about 27 years old, since like 2019, I want to say, I got really sick. And I just started as like woke up a little bit earlier than I normally wake up one day. And then that kind of snowballed into all of a sudden I couldn't sleep at all. And in doing that, you create a more nutrient dense forage, a more nutrient dense animal and food that leads to a healthier person. And so I was like, this is awesome. This makes total sense. Let's get into it. And so I sold everything I owned, bought a car and started traveling the US and spent 4 to 5 years visiting farmers that were doing this sort of thing, figuring out where I could use my financial background to kind of help them out. 100%. So when I was traveling throughout the US, literally it wasn't to start a business. It was just because I was interested. And one of the first like 1 or 2 questions I'd ask each farmer are like, what are your pain points? And number 1 or number 2 on that list was always finances. And so I was like, okay, what does that mean? Let's go into deeper detail, and just started offering my services. And finance is this huge catch-all umbrella phase. And yeah, so what happens underneath that it could be raising capital, it could be budgeting, building out pro formas, cost benefit, like there's so many things that fall under finance. And luckily my background was pretty diverse. And so I was able to kind of offer and plug in wherever they needed that help. And so that was the kind of the beginning of the business, was just being a financial resource to them, being able to speak the language, being able to kind of step in and deliver on anything that they really needed. I hopefully parked our van in Colorado. That's the dream. Denver Airport allows you very easy access to the entire United States. And so that's a nice place to be. But I will always be visiting on farms. You have to get on farms. This Zoom and Google Meets and all these great tools have allowed just a different type of service that wasn't accessible 20, 30 years ago.